Hey everybody, welcome back. So it's been quite a while since I've worked on this project. I unfortunately got very sick for quite some time, and then some changes at work have me not able to spend any time on this. So it's been a long time since I've worked on it, and when that happens, um, I come back to this and I don't quite really remember where I was even at. And so I think I'm going to sort of start off on this with something that I think is kind of a simple thing to do to sort of get back into working on it, remember where I'm at, and um, let's see if I can accomplish something in a relatively short time. So what I want to do is make a main menu that has sort of the different things that I want the user to be able to do. So um, I'm going to start out with a new level, and it's just going to be empty. And then I'm going to save the current level as uh, maps, and we'll call this main menu map. And I'm going to come into my project settings and immediately set this to be, oops, I've lost my window. There we go. Okay. I'm going to set this to be a game default map. And I'm going to create a new widget. And I'm going to put it in well, let's see. I guess I'm going to make a new folder in here. Actually, no. Forget that for the moment. It may end up going in its own folder eventually, but for now I'm just going to stick it in here, and we'll call it user widget. We'll call it that. And I'm making this a user widget for the moment. So I think the way I did this one was I inherited from a base class that I had created in C++ so that I could bind, vehicle HUD widget, so that I could bind to the, the controls and control it from C++. I'm not going to worry about that for now with this widget. That may end up being the way I go, but for now I'm just going to do this just in a blueprint. We'll call it main, or we'll call it Cobra main menu. And I'm going to do this really as simple as possible for now. This would not be the way you would do this if you were creating a full game that you intended to release. What you'd probably do is put you'd probably put a vertical box and then maybe a horizontal box, and to organize everything well. But for now I'm just going to throw some buttons on here. And so the first button I'm going to make is the one thing I'm going to try to implement first here, which is, let's say it's going to be some sort of like practice mode. And let's see here. I'm gonna make this black, and sort of transparent, even though there's nothing. Actually, let me put some text in here. We'll just put the word practice. Oops. And we'll make it bigger. Let's see. $896. Let's see here. I'm just looking to see if there's anything that I want to do to this right now. I set the wrong. So this should be white and fully opaque. The background is what I wanted to be black and sort of transparent. And I'm just taking a look. I think for now I'll probably just leave it like that, but yeah. I'll left align that. I think that'll probably end up looking better. So I'm just going to copy and paste this guy. And we'll call this one, we'll call it underscore race. And the text on that will be race weekend. Ooh, these need to be a little bit longer. Uh, oh, come on. Damn it. I'm not going to worry about getting these perfect right now. It's really annoying. So we got practice race weekend. We're probably going to have some sort of settings. And change the text on that. Oops. And then we need a button to quit. And set that. And for now, I'm only going to worry about practice and quit. So first, let's just do quit because this is super easy. First, I'm going to make this a variable. And you know what? I'll go ahead and make the practice one a variable as well. And then when I come down here to quit and on click, I'm going to hit this plus. Nice and simple, quick game. Save that, compile, and we'll just run real quick. Oh, you know what? My bad, I can't do that yet. So in the level blueprint, actually, let me make. I always hate using the level blueprint because you can't. Um, there's no concept of the level blueprint in C++, or if there is, it's a pain to deal with. So what I think I'll do is I'll make a new game mode. I'll inherit from my Cobra game mode. Select that, and we'll call this E underscore Cobra underscore main menu. Or I'll call it grief. Game mode underscore main menu. And in this map, let's see. We will set this main menu as our game mode, and I'm not going to set anything else. And then in the game mode, let me give this a try. I don't think I've ever done this in the game mode before. I've always used the level blueprint. I'm assuming this is going to work, so let's give it a shot. Create widget. Let's get player controller. And we're going to create our main menu. And we're going to add to viewport, I think it is. Yep, there we go. Whoops. Let's see what we got here. And quit. And that works just fine. Okay. So now I want to, when practice is chosen, I want to launch my track, but if we take a look at that map, track map, or the test map that we have right now, it has this game mode set to game mode. I'm going to want this to behave differently. When you join the track, it needs to behave differently depending on whether you've chosen, whether you've chosen the practice or the race weekend. It's going to behave completely differently. And the way I'm going to handle that is with different game modes. But you can see, obviously, I can't come in here and set the game mode to more than one thing. So what I'm reading that I can do is use a sort of a URL. It almost looks like a query string on a URL when you launch a map. You can pass in a game mode on like a query string. So I'm going to give that a shot. I'm going to create different game modes for the different for race weekend and practice, and then I'll be able to control what happens with the game mode. So let me go back in here, make another game mode. So we're going to inherit from Cobra game mode. We'll call this BP underscore Cobra underscore game mode underscore practice. And then what I will do is when you click practice, we gotta be on clicked. We're gonna what's it called? I don't want to use this one. There we go. And select our track map. And I think maybe that's where it needs to go. I'm going to have to look this up real quick. So I'm going to pause. Okay, I think I know what I need to do here, or at least roughly. So, my game mode, I'm going to copy a reference to that. I'm going to crack open Notepad real quick. Yeah. It wants to open a bunch of stuff that doesn't exist anymore. Paste this in here. Did all that, and the query string is going to be this string plus some other nonsense. 1 second. Okay, let me. So yeah, this is going to be mark game equals. I think that's exactly what that needs to look like. So we're actually going to do this open level node instead. So open level by object reference, select the map, and down here in options we're going to paste in that string. And I think we still want to connect this to a load. Maybe not. Maybe I don't need to do that. Let's see what happens when I just open level. It's throwing me right into the thing. I need to. Shouldn't have to do this, but we'll look at why later. So let's see what happens. Oh, I haven't hooked this up yet, have I? No, I did. See what happens when I click practice. Okay, there we go. God, I still don't understand why clouds are so. I think if I turn clouds off, it helps. It's running really slow. Well, lighting doesn't look right. Quite right either. I'm not going to worry about that for now because I just want to see this work, and I think it just did. would like a way to tell for sure that the game mode is correct. So, I go into the game mode. Actually, let me. How do I want to do this? Let me think about this for a second. So I've reloaded my map, my test map, which has this sun, moon, day sequence actor that's handling this time of day thing that it's doing. And obviously, I've got it running super fast, just so that you can actually see it happening. The initial time of day is set to 6 a.m. And I'm thinking if I set it to like 2 p.m., should be 1400 in the game mode, that'll tell me that the correct game mode has loaded. And so I'm wondering if I can do that. So if I open the game mode here, I'll begin play. You get actor of class, and what's it called? Sun, moon. Yeah, there we go. Sun, moon, day sequence actor. Taking a sun, moon, day sequence actor object reference, and I set, what is it called? Initial time of day. No, I can get it. What about setting? What about setting it? Let's see here. There we go. Set time of day. 14. I have no idea if that'll work or not, but let's give it a shot. It does not look. Does not look like that worked. I can't really set the initial time of day. I wonder if there's something else I mean, I could just log it to the screen, I guess, that it's in the right game mode. That'd probably be the easiest thing to do. Oops. Damn it. That doesn't seem like it's working at all. So I don't think it's loading the right game mode, but one more thing I could do is in the game mode. Here's my game mode. In my game mode, should be able to set. Oh, right, it's already set to default pawn. So, interesting. So it's definitely not loading it correctly. Why not? I feel like I need another step here. So let me see if I can look this up again. I wonder if it's just, I see that a lot of the examples show underscore C at the end. I don't know what that's about, but let's see what happens. Oh, didn't like that at all. So this is the error that happened, and this tells me that it actually worked, but I need to set the game state. So that's interesting. I'm gonna um, I'm gonna relaunch this. I don't know why my U projects are not associated with Unreal, but I'm gonna relaunch this, and I'll bet a couple quick changes will get it to work. Okay, so I've got this reloaded, and I'm loading the code up in Writer because I can't remember how I implemented timing. So what I know that I need to do is create a game state, and I know that for the practice, the game state's going to be different because I think, right, what's going to happen is I'm going to store the timing information. At the end of the day, the timing information is going to be in the game state class, and I can't remember if that's where I put it or not. So I need to look. I don't know if this is still not loaded yet. But what I can do temporarily till I get a look at that is I can create a game state. So we'll create a Cobra game state here. And we'll just call it EP underscore Cobra underscore game state underscore practice. And in the game mode, we'll come in and set the state inside the mode. So right here, we're going to do Cobra game state practice. And let me load main menu map. And start. If I hit practice now, what happens? Now it loads. And you can see I don't have a car. That's because my pawn is the default pawn class. And why is that so slow? It just kills me. I thought it was the clouds, but I've got clouds turned off. So I'm not sure why it's so slow. But now that I have that, so I can set default pawn class. Now that I know the proper game mode is loading, I'll go ahead and set the default pawn class to my vehicle. And we'll run. And now, oops. Now if I click practice, now it loads the vehicle. But I can't control it because my player controller class is not set. So now we use the Cobra player controller. And hit practice. And now I've got my HUD control the vehicle. Although my frame rate is so slow, I'll have to figure out what's going on with that. I don't know why. But it's working. So let me take a look. Let's see if this code is loaded yet. Yeah, here we go. So let's take a look at the game state. Did I do anything in this class? Yes, so the timing system is loaded here. So this timing system can probably, if I need to do something different, and I do, right? For practice, the timing system should really just have the top lap times in order. But for the race, it's positions, and so the timing system is going to work differently depending on what game state you're in. And I think probably how I'll end up handling that, I'm not going to do it right now, but I think how I'll probably end up handling that is the timing system itself can probably check. Let's take a look at the timing system, right? It's been so long since I've worked on this, right? I don't remember exactly how it's all set up. Let me see if there is a way. Can I do, whoops. Damn it. Can I do, like, get world. Yeah, get game state. So I can check what game state I'm in and behave differently depending on the game state. So that's probably what I will do. And really, this process lap info function probably what I need to do is here in this function, if I'm in the practice game state, I need to potentially reorder my leaderboard, I guess, which I don't even really have the concept of yet. So I need the concept of like a standings, and I need to update it, every time a vehicle finishes a lap, really. So I think that's probably the way I'll handle that. Obviously, I'm not going to do that right now. I want to go ahead and stop this video where it's short, where it is. I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish for today, which is I got a menu, and I've got it loading the proper game mode. When you click on practice, that was the main thing I wanted to accomplish. And the next things I want to accomplish, I think, are if we take a look at the map, and if I set the time of day to something that's got some lighting, there we go. Just, good Lord, the frame rate is so slow. Something's happened to my machine or my settings that is really causing a significant problem here. But basically over here in pit road, we have a bunch of pit stalls, and I want to sort of define those pit stalls, sort of like I have defined these timing loops. I want to define pit stalls with a box, and so that when you join a practice session or whatever, the game mode needs to decide which pit stall you belong to, so that when you like when you're in practice mode, when you start, you should start in your pit stall. And so that's the goal there. So I wanted to find the pit stalls, and I wanted to find the leaderboard and a bunch of things like that. But I want to think for a little bit on how I'm going to do all these things. So I'll think about that for a little bit, and next video will probably be implementing one of those things. I'm not sure which. So also I'm gonna sort of start over a series on Flight Simulator, because if you've looked at that series at all, I used the Vigilante assets, which were just a tremendous set of assets that were available for free. And unfortunately, I think last week or the week before, the company who had released them decided they didn't want to make them available anymore, and they've been wiped not only from their website, but also from the Fab store. So there's no longer any way to get those assets, and that's a real bummer. I know that's going to be a big problem for a lot of folks. So I was going to try to start a new series that did not use those assets, and tried to just find anything I could for free to build something out. So I may work on that a little bit too. Anyway, I'll think about what I want to do, and hopefully I'll have a new video soon. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.